Welcome to another CEO Wisdom podcast with Imthiyaaz Hassim with us today. He is a CEO and also co-founder at sixtervideo.com, aka Sixter Tech. This podcast brought to you by podfire.com. If you want to start, scale, or get invited to a podcast so that you can get leads, clients, guests, subscribers, everything in between, obviously insights and knowledge. So I'm really glad to welcome Imthiyaaz Hassim to this pod. Imti, can you tell us a bit more about yourself and a bit more about Sixter Tech?
So Sixer Tech or Sixer, which it started out, actually started with my own personal problem I had towards getting a job, right? So at a very young age, when I was like around 18, just after high school, I was like, very much interested in joining big companies, right? So, but these big companies had, like a lot of stages when it comes to interviews, right? It could be, written, it could be face-to-face interview, it could be, filling up applications, a lot of other things, right? So, but all of these companies that I was very much interested in, I was not able to, join them. They either rejected me or no one actually called me when I submitted my CV. So I wanted to find out why exactly this is happening. Right? That's where my 3 months of research I started to do. I applied for jobs. I started talking with my current customers or my current target market, which are talent acquisition managers, HR managers, and chief operating officers. Then I found out that my resume was really bad. It was not up to the quality or anything like that. Then I said, okay, I didn't know what my issue is because companies were not able to inform me what the issue is. Also, it's not their fault because they are going through 1,000 applications. They can't sit through each and every application and decide, hey, this guy we have to send you feedback on. So that's where I thought I actually asked around 30 to 40 people, like, what if we had an option where we were able to share a video clip, and from that you can ask questions and you can review, will that give me a chance? Then that person said there is no such a system like that locally. So probably if you do something like that, you might have been on our high priority list, right? So then I started building this around the same issue I had. How can I pitch? So I was I well know that outside globally there were a lot of other products out there. So that's where Sixer was born. Sixer is a candidate. It's an automated candidate screening platform, which reduces 95% of all tasks for HR, which includes products such as CV filtering, AI-powered CV filtering, pre-recorded video interviews, and assessments. So out of my personal issue that I had, I started building the product around it, and then I later on made it into a business model, which we have been running for the last 6 months, which we have served over 50 companies globally.
That's pretty cool. So scratching your own itch, sort of your pricing packages, they start at 250 a month, I believe, 235. You get
Yeah.
500 responses per month, 2 job sourcing roles. So I can publish 2 of my jobs there. Um, what does the platform do exactly? What are the core features? Does it allow me to post at multiple spots at the same time and allows me to just get a nice candidate pipeline?
Yeah. So what happens is, Charles, is we are not actually per se a job board, right? We are a screening platform where we will give you a link and you can integrate it to where we want. It could be on LinkedIn, it could be on any job sites that you guys want to. It can be on social media, Instagram, whatever it is, right? So when you integrate that link, you don't need to go through around 100, 200, 300 applications, right, for an opening job. You just need to integrate that link, set up your parameters, upload your job description, right? This could be, it could be a job description or specific things that you want that candidate to have, or the candidate your possible candidate who you want to hire should have. So when you include that, we run a AI source model where we compare all the incoming CVs and you can set the parameters. Okay, only show me CVs that match 80% or 90% of what I am looking for with the document that I've uploaded. Then we show you only those individuals. It doesn't mean you don't have access to the all incoming CVs. You do have access. We just show the priority ones first. Then automatically what happens is, based on your parameters, we can initiate an automated link directly to go to the candidate, telling them to complete a pre-recorded video interview. where you can set up the timeline, you can put up the questions you want, you can ask for any portfolio, like if you're telling the candidate, okay, if you're hiring a UI UX designer, you want to see their portfolio, they can attach their Behance or their GitHub or whatever it is, right? Then only you will be notified. Okay, hey, this person got selected from the CV process. Now this person is has done the interview. Then only you need to get involved in that. Just view the CV, view the video, and you just need to hire that individual whether you like that person or not. Then
So I guess the
the next,
interest is sort of like a CRM, because I mean they could somewhat like record a video on their own hand. I could tell them, I wouldn't even tell them. I'd be like, yeah, send me a video, like, and then I would see their resourcefulness, how
yes.
used they are for that, you know. Um, then if they all send me videos, well, I would have them add the link to a Google form, and that's pretty much all free. And then I would plug this Google form to a Google Sheet, and this Google Sheet to some kind of CRM that I would be able to do it for free. Like, why would I need Sixer Video and pay it $200 a month to do that?
So basically, if you want to get someone to follow up the Google Sheets, Google Forms, and everything, you need to put in your hours into that, right? So when companies are big, large corporates that we are working with, they say we can easily employ someone, use WhatsApp or whatever. But privacy is a main concern, Charles. There is people are not willing to share videos directly with the open platforms, or like already used for communication platform. That's number one. And also the AI does half of these Google Sheets. Like the AI that we have made, it actually helps you to go through the series. You don't need to sit through. If it's a Google form or a Google Sheet, you have to sit through going through these each and everything. So we are trying to do is what we want to do is we want you to only focus on the best fit candidates, and we are giving that in a plate to you. Here you go. Here are you guys, right? And even in the interview, the pre-recorded video stage, if you're uploading a script, if you can put up a script and you say only show me videos that match the script that I want the individual to talk, we give you that option as well.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
that
The keywords like
cutting
that they
down.
use. I also want to highlight, like in HR, the importance of videos. I've recorded videos, I think, for the last 2 years in my business. Why? First, well, so many things, videos communicate 10,000 things. If an image 1,000 words, well, a video is 10,000 words. A video is a sequence of image. But first, their quality of camera, right? If it's a shitty camera, well, odds are that they don't have the money or the brains to buy a new camera. Then
That
their
is correct.
Wi-Fi connection, super important. Then their presentational skill, how they look also, like if they don't care about their looks, like what will they care about, um, so quite important. And finally, their resourcefulness. Once they upload a video, can they jump through the loops and circles? I need them to do that, because else if they don't show any resourcefulness, then yeah, I mean, what will they do in my business? So I'm highlighting the importance of that. I understand that your clients are quite big. I want to hear a bit more about that. So how many clients do you have right now? And are you exclusively hitting the big-ish enterprise market right now?
Right now we have around 30 clients who are like recurring for us, right? Every annually as well as monthly as well. So we
How
have 30
much?
clients
Sorry,
who
I
are
missed
recurring.
that.
30 companies, 30.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
And for
and
how long has the company been alive? Like
for
a
six
couple of
years,
years? Okay,
6 years,
nice.
and we are actually going on our seventh year right now. So usually companies that come to us is mostly companies who are more than 100 staff members, and the mid level are like some of the companies that we work in UK who are the like the startups, the mid level people. They are around 50, more than 50 team members, right? So usually it's between 50 plus. Whoever companies have 50 plus teams, and the set of companies like the outsourcing companies which have like a big we call it less retention rates, right? So those are the companies that we target with, and those are the companies that actually need a product like us.
How do you deal? So, okay, what's your first touch with these big companies? Do you do ABM? Do you do like cold email? How do you get in touch with them? Or is it pure referral?
Right now, how we started at start was pure cold calling, because like it took us a lot of time, because this is not a very known concept in the South Asian region. So it took a little bit of time for us to convince people. But the people, so the one of the oldest clients we have is one of the part of the Boston Consulting Group, known as Stax, is a strategic consulting company. It's part of the BCG group. So they were the first to take the risk and use us, and they have been our client for the last 5 years. So they have been one of the most loyal clients that we have so far. So at the start, it was cold calling and a lot of meetings just to realize, okay, this is how we are doing. So if some companies find us and come with the knowledge, okay, like I need this video part integrated, it was easier. But right now, what we are doing is we are using something called case studies and research articles, where we show, okay, company A has achieved this much and they have reduced 80% of their time. So if you see on our site under the client section, you can find those case studies. And in those, you can find out how we have reduced for e-commerce platforms to retail platforms to outsourcing companies. So these have been, and also the testimonials given by the clients, right? So when the clients are part of a small community, it spreads fast. That's how we grew in Sri Lanka. And how we grew outside of Sri Lanka is, if you take companies that were actually having back offices in Sri Lanka, in UK companies, Malaysian companies, they were all very much interested and they started using it globally. And our idea is we didn't want to capitalize on just country to country. We said like, oh hey, if you're a global company, as an example, Daraz, which is Alibaba funded company here in the South Asia, we said like, hey, under this one subscription plan, why don't you go for a global account with us? That gave us leverage, that gave us opportunity, and also that gave us a lot of buzzword. Okay, these guys are adding value. But from day one, what we were trying to we communicated is value. We don't say for company A or like a Pizza Hut, we don't say the same pitch. We don't do it for like a logistic company or an e-commerce
Right.
company. So we see the value. So that is, I think, something that we stood out.
Okay, so let's call it 10K our business. I heard that Draper invested in you. Is that what you told me?
Yeah, Draper actually, we actually have pitched them. So we are in the process, but what I mentioned is that Draper was in Sri Lanka and he was able to invest around $350,000 to about few different companies here, startups in Sri Lanka.
Right. It's pretty cool. Where do you feel the Sri Lankan startup scene / ecosystem is as of now? Are you seeing it burgeoning? What advantage does it have over the other hubs of the world?
I think Sri Lankan startups one of the most unique. I think I am not one of the. I think the unique thing is actually team that we have. Like a lot of companies here are doing MVPs for, like we have Germans, we have French. A lot of people come down here, use our tech talent, and they build first a MVP. They test locally and then they go global. So Sri Lanka has one of the biggest for even startups is actually team, because if you take the top-notch tech talent is actually from Sri Lanka. So a lot of those tech talent are coming back and they want to help. They are building their own products or services, and they are forming a team around it. Right? They are sharing knowledge, which like in classical industries, even globally or in Sri Lanka, classical industries there has not been much of knowledge transfer among the old peers and the new incomers. But here in the IT field, it's totally something different. So for Sri Lankan startups, the biggest advantage is actually our own, about 1 billion rupees. That's around more than about $100 million contributed to the Sri Lankan economy is from IT services. That IT knowledge or the IT know-how, technical know-how, and the team building spirits that we have is the greatest advantage for us when it comes to starting a startup from Sri Lanka.
Love it. What's next for you this year? Like, what are you focusing on? What are your objectives?
So this year, what we are doing is we are bringing in some new product features, right? So we are working on something called the AI retention system, where, as an example, we get data from companies why your staff left. So for a relationship manager role, if the higher rate of people are leaving, so then what we do is we compare that when a person applies, right? So we want to do something called the AI retention rate, so that early on companies can find out how long this individual might stay. Okay, maybe for 6 months or 12 months this individual will stay. If you can give a possible average level, that could bring down a lot of overhead costs for companies. So that is what we are doing right now, and bringing all our platforms together. And at the same time, we are looking at expanding into US. We only have around 5 companies that we are working with. So our target market to expand by the end of this year is the South American as well as the North American countries.
That's interesting. And why Latam? Why this market and not focus elsewhere?
So we have seen is that we actually, if you go on Indeed.com as an example, which is it's a job site. If you go on that, you can see a lot of companies are hiring in those areas, right? So we have tried our hand in the South Asian markets. South Asian markets are still a little bit backward in using tools. As an example, South Asian markets recently only got used to something called the ATS, or something similar to CRM, which is the application tracking system. But if you look at US markets, we have that option as well in our platform. But if you look at the US markets, they have gone 3, 4 steps further, right? So given the current, that companies are doing a lot of, like doing a lot of, they are controlling their capital, their expenses, and everything. So they are going to look, especially US companies are going to look for talent outside, which is cheaper, sustainable. So they can't deploy additional expenses like setting up a team to make sure they hire in that specific markets or anything like that. But they can rely on a platform like us. They can subscribe to us. They can put up our system wherever, or our platform wherever the market. So as an example, we work with this UK company who are exclusively only hiring in Malaysia and in Sri Lanka. They don't have a team, so they just deploy our platform and they start hiring people. So that is one of the biggest reasons why we are in the US market, because the biggest market they are looking for right now, even Canada and US, both are actually looking for teams and talent in North America as well. Sorry, in South America as well. So that is why we focusing on much more high markets where there are opportunities to set up remote teams.
Where can people find out more about UMT?
So you guys can always just reach out on sixervideo.com. We have a book a demo option. You guys can set up a demo with us and understand what we provide and whatnot. And you all guys can always reach out on LinkedIn also. Or else you can just simply just drop me a message on LinkedIn. It's the same as I think Charles will be mentioning it on the bio as well. Or you can just simply just I don't know, just drop us a mail on LinkedIn or Instagram. We are always there to help our clients.
Thank you so much, MT. I'm Charles, host of the CEO Wisdom podcast. If you want to start, scale, or get invited to top podcast, spotfire.com. Thank you so much, MT.